Hey guys, Jason here with Jason's Works. Just wanted to do a video on making a coin ring. I know there's a lot of new folks starting up the craft, so I wanted to kind of touch the basics with that, but also get into more detail, showing the techniques that I'm using now. I've incorporated some new ones and got rid of some other ones, so just kind of wanted to go through that process with you. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. So first thing is gonna make a coin ring out of a 1942 Walking Liberty. Now, if you're just starting out, you may want to use a clad. There we go. That's just a beautiful coin, isn't it? That's really my favorite. But if you're just starting out, you may want to use a clad 50-cent piece. That way you can practice without spending a lot of money, because these silver coins are, sorry about the rooster, getting up in price. They're, I don't know, 14 bucks now or something like that, and I think they're going to go a lot higher. So, but the clad coins are face value, and great to practice on. So I'd recommend doing the 50-cent first, and then maybe a quarter. You can start with a quarter clad. The silver quarter, the Washington, very difficult to make because there's a difference in thickness, and so they wobble out like crazy. So when you're ready to go to silver, start with a 50-cent piece and then try the silver quarter. So, okay, first things first. What the most important question is the ring size. What's your target ring size? I'm going to do a size 11. It's about my size, and so that's going to tell me what size punch to punch the hole out of the center of the coin. Actually, before I get to that, when you choose your coin, make sure there's no numismatic value to the coin. Very, very important. One coin can be worth millions of dollars. So double check the date, double check any errors, if there's any numismatic or value to rarity for that coin. When you go to coin shops, you can usually ask for the junk silver, and that'll be just everyday change that was used 1964 or older. And the coin shops typically go through the coins to make sure there's no numismatic in there, but always double check. I found a Carson City Morgan dollar, yeah, doing that once. So yeah, I was glad that I checked that one before I punched a hole. So yeah, just double check, make sure there's no numismatic value, and that it's a high quality coin, good detail, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Depending on the coin, it'll wear in different points first. So I like to have very crisp detail, but not like a minted, fresh off the mint coin, because that has some numismatic value to it. So there are people that like that though, so you can have that as an option. But just double check your coins, make sure that they're no numismatic value and a good quality coin where you can see the detail. And a good option is to ask for cleaned coins, to look at those, because once you clean a coin, then you've just taken away that numismatic value. And in the ring making process, you need to clean the ring, polish it up, so that process happens. So through just the ring making itself. So okay, back to the hole size. Size 11. I've been going to narrower bands. I don't like the really wide bands and that fat tire look so much. I like a little bit, just rounded on the edge, but not necessarily a straight band, but just something with a soft round on both ends of the ring. So like for this $1/2, I think I'll probably use the 9/16 punch or the 5/8. I'll probably go with the 9/16. And that'll give me a good bandwidth for that ring size. Now this may sound counterintuitive, but the hole size does not designate the ring size, because you can stretch the ring or reduce the ring however much you want to a point on the stretching. There's only so much material for whatever coin you're using, but you can reduce it down to nothing basically. But if you're making like a size I don't know. So a size 14 is about as big as I like to go with a $1/2. That's for a really big finger, and that's going, as you stretch that ring out, that bandwidth will narrow, and so you want to start with a wide band. So that means a small hole for a big ring, and then for a small ring, you want a big hole. because as you reduce down, you're actually widening that band, and that goes on a small finger. So you want, less material and a smaller ring altogether to look good on that finger. So I'll probably do probably go with a 5/8 with this one. So I've checked the coin. No numismatic value. Has good detail though, and the first step, well, actually, yeah, the first step, I like to punch the hole, and then I anneal after the initial folding. This way, as the coin is minted, it hardens, it work hardens, and so that helps to protect the detail as you're punching. And there's still a little bit of anneal left on it, but we'll get to that step, the annealing process, after I do that initial folding. So, okay, so I'm gonna pick the punch. We'll do the 5/8, and get over here. All right, so a big shout out to Brian Smith. He came up with the concept of the auto punch. He saw the reduction die and said, "Hey, that self-centers. Why not put that in your punch?" That's a great idea. So we're doing it. All right. So thank you, Brian, for that concept. That has really helped people to get a perfectly centered hole. And right here you see this is a flat 5/8 die. It says right there on the side, and it's flat on both sides. Now you'll see with the smaller punches, this is a 7/16. It has a cone shape. Now that is to raise the coin up in the punch housing so that the top housing can engage the coin and center it on the pedestal that's on the inside. So you want to place this, if you're using a smaller hole punch, this die goes in just one way, with where you can read the 7/16 on the side, and that sets right in to the punch like that. And then you place your coin in there, whatever coin you're using, a Morgan. That's a really small hole for a Morgan, but that raises the coin up. That's more so for a quarter. You see how small the quarter is in there? That'll raise the coin up so that that top part will engage. And with the flat, this die can go either way. So you actually have two cutting edges on this die, which is cool. So you place that in here. Make sure it's flat, and you can spin it in there if you like, but make sure that's flat. And then it's really important to set this down on a flat surface, so that the coin can stay in one position. And then we'll place the 50-cent piece in here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, because as this screws down, it'll hit up against the sides and will center the coin on top of that pedestal. So we screw it down, nice and snug, not too snug. You don't want to lock it in there. Just hand tight, hand snug. And then to double check, you can look at the bottom and you can see that the coin is flat and ready to be punched. So we'll take our punch here, and I like to use the burr life just on the edge of the punch. That's good for jeweler saws and punches. And then a brass hammer. Rocky Workman made me that hammer. That's a serious hammer. 2-pound brass hammer is good to use. So we'll just hit the top of this nice and square. You want to use the brass hammer and not a steel hammer, because the brass it won't deform the punch head, and it also helps to grab the punch and not deflect. So it'll grab the punch and deflect off it like a steel one would. So we'll give it a couple good whacks. And you don't want to just keep whacking down, because you'll drive the punch into the coin. As soon as it gives way, like you saw, you know you're through, and you can double check with the plug right there on the table. So now it's just a matter of unscrewing the top. And there it is. Punch through, perfectly centered. And now we'll take this and place it into the top of the housing like that. And you have a rubber dead blow hammer. I like to hold the base of the punch with my finger and then just tap it out, and then that's it. Perfectly centered hole, just like that. And now comes the fun part of the initial folding. And this is a big shout out to Adam McKinney. He came up with the idea of using the the reduction dies as a folding die as well, which was ingenious. And we'll place the steel starter cone. So the idea with the steel starter cone is that this will start the folding process to help protect your folding tools later on. Actually, before I do the steel starter cone, because we cut with that punch, there is a very sharp edge right here, and while the coin is flat prior to folding, you want to take that that burr or that sharp edge off with a deburring tool. And so I like to just come in at about a 45-degree angle and shave that off. Now this is doing a couple of things. This is helping to protect your folding tools in the next few steps, but most importantly, this is very, very, very important. You do this in order to remove the stress risers on the edge of that cutting surface. Remove the stress risers on the edge of that hole. The stress riser is like, if you can imagine a small little, if you're magnified in, it's just a little crack or crevice like that that's on the edge. And if you stretch it out, it starts to just rip it and tear apart. And that's what happens if you split a coin or split a ring while you're stretching it. It's because there was a very, very small stress riser that grew and grew and grew until a point to where you actually split the ring in half. So this is a very, very important part, using that deburring tool to remove those stress risers. Now we can get into the folding. So on this ring, I think I like to have the date showing in the sun, because I think that's the prettiest part of the coin, but you can do either side, whichever side you want. But I like to have the date showing. So I'm going to place that facing down, and so we're going to fold that downward, and the steel starter cone is going to start the folding process. I'm using a 1-ton arbor. Actually, let me show you. The 1-ton arbor I like to use because there's so much room here. I typically use that, but I'm going to show you on the ring stretcher as well. But the arbor press, I do a lot of the folding procedures and Swedish die procedures because there's so much room. But if you want, you can also use the ring stretcher reducer machine. So I'm just going to press until I feel resistance, which is right there. So that's it. I just pressed until I felt resistance. So now the coin has been work hardened even more, and so now I'm going to anneal it and start fresh with freshly annealed coin. So make sure the fuel's on. This is a silversmith torch. It's acetylene and atmosphere. There's holes right here. The atmosphere gets sucked in and burns with the acetylene. You can turn that on. And let's see here. There we go. As I'm wasting my acetylene. real quick before I get this thing annealed, I like to put it in this little furnace that I made with the fire brick on the trivet, because it's nice and dark, so I can better see the color. If you're just starting out with annealing, it's really important to do it in a pitch black dark room, no lights on at all. You don't even want to see your hand in front of your face, because that will tell you the true color, which tells you the heat of the coin or material that you're heating. If you do it in a shop with lots of lights or out in the daylight, you won't see that color, and you won't know how hot it is. Now you can, after a while, get accustomed to. I've noticed that you'll see an orange flame come off the silver right at the point of it turning a dull red in a pitch black room. And that's what you want, is a dull red in a pitch black room. But if you can see that orange flame, once you get proficient at it, and you see that orange flame in a room that's lit, then you're good to go. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that orange flame. But we can also maybe see the color, since we have it tucked inside there. Right there, I see an orange. And then you can see the dull red in there, so we're good to go. There we go. And when you're quenching, you want to, if you get a little too hot, like a red or even a bright red, let it cool down to where it's a dark heat, where you don't see any color at all, and then quench it in cool water. If you quench it in hot water, you'll have like a double quench. You'll hear a little and then a like that. If you hear the little and then you pull it out, it's still hot. It hasn't fully quenched. So make sure that your water is cool. Okay, so we've got a freshly annealed and a fold started on it with a steel starter cone. So now we're going to go to our folding mandrel, or you can use folding cones. I don't have the folding cones with me. I like to use the mandrel. But the folding cones would be used on the ring stretcher reducer, because it's a smaller, you can't fit that under there. You can fit it under the 1 ton, or yeah, the 1 ton arbor press. But you use the folding cones and the steel starter cone with this guy, and then the taller folding tools you use with the 1 ton arbor press. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, because that's how I usually do it. And we'll use the burr life, put a little on there. This helps to reduce the ring from sticking to the mandrel. And away we go. So I'm keeping an eye on it to make sure it's not wobbling out and it's sitting perfectly straight and fine. And same thing, I press down until I feel resistance. I don't put, a bunch of pressure on it, but I just keep going until I feel resistance. And then you can see here there's no gap between the ring and the mandrel, and that's what you're looking for. You want it nice and tight up against the mandrel. And so now that's fully folded, and I'm going to go ahead and anneal it again, rather. So again, we're looking for the orange flame, or the dull red heat. Let that cool down a little bit. And we'll quench. So this is folded and annealed. So now we're ready for step number 3, I guess. See if I remember. There's 4 steps. You punch the hole, and then you fold it, reduce it, and finish it. I guess that's it. So 4 simple steps. And I'm looking for a size 11 for the finished ring. Now, if you if you don't have the Swedish tools, then you have a window of opportunity to get the ring size and shape that you want right off the bat. If you stretch it out too far, then you won't be able to get it down to size without hurting some of the detail. And that was the concept that I had the hardest time figuring out, was how to get rid of that cone shape of the ring. And the trick is to overstretch it past your target size. And the amount that you overstretch depends on the size of the coin and also the shape that you want. If you want more of a fat tire rounded look, then you got to overstretch it way past your target size and then switch from your 17 to 25 degree dies. But if you're looking for more of a straight wall or even just slightly rounded, then you don't want to stretch it out too far. So for dimes, you go from the small coin to big coins. For dimes, you almost just hit your target size because they're so small and tiny. You could maybe go one size over. Quarters, you want to overstretch past your target size 1 to 2. For half dollars, 2 to 3 sizes over, and for Morgan dollars, that'd be 3 to 4 sizes over your target size. So if I'm making this size 11 half dollar, that's 2 to 3 sizes over. So I'm looking about a 13 to 14 ring size before I start reducing. So that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for size 13 to 14. We'll see what this is right now. This is a ring sizing mandrel. It has US and metric and all kinds of measurements on it. And you always want to measure the narrowest part of the ring. And right now, the narrowest part of the ring is the cut side, or here's the reed side, and then here's the inside of the coin or the field. And right now, that's the narrowest, so that's what you want to measure. And it's reading a size 10.5. So see that? Yeah, I've made a few rings on this, so a little worn. So I want to go up to a 13. Let's do a 13, I think. Yeah, that's with a narrow band. So okay, it's annealed, folded. Okay, we're good to go. So the stretching process, we're doing this. Who came up with the paper towel idea? I got a video on that. I know Joshua James, he likes plastic bags, but I use paper towels. Yeah, Joshua James, big shout out to Joshua for that. What I like to do is get a paper towel. It could be the white, kitchen towels, whatever. I like these blue ones. For dimes, I go single. That's right, dimes I go single layer. Quarters, I'll go 2-fold, and then half dollars I'll go 3. And what this does is it protects the detail of the inside of the ring, because these are steel, and so that can damage the detail. And so I'll go and place the paper towel on top, put the ring on top, and then I push down and holding a little bit on the paper, but I want to tear through just like that. That way we have a cushion in between. I'll put the ram down, and then we'll go ahead, here we go, and I'll just do a quarter pull on the lever, and then I'll twist that ring so it's offset on the panels, so I'm not stretching the same location each time. And we'll take that off, check it. It's about 12 or so. So we'll go some more. Okay, we are at 13. So that's at the narrowest part of the ring right there. There we go. So you can see the 13 is just covered. And that's what I'm shooting for. So now I have to anneal it again because that stretching has work hardened it, and if there were any stress risers that were still on the ring, that's the part that it would start to break is the stretching process. So it didn't break. So we got all those stress risers out, so that's cool. All right, so we're almost done with the ring. Getting very close. We'll see how it works out. Not sure if we'll do Swede dye or not today, but we don't need to because we're working within the parameters of this size coin for that ring size that I'm after. It works really good for like between size 10 to 14, 9, maybe 9.5 to 14, maybe 9. Anything smaller than that, you'd want to go to the Swede dye to get it down smaller. And then quarters, let me think. Quarters, you can go size 8, I think, is a good size. So quarters are great for women's rings, and then half dollars are great for men's rings. Morgan dollars, you can go up to, you can make a cuff bracelet, and there's a video on that. But those are great for big fingers. And then dimes, you can go up to a size, I want to say like a 4 or 6, maybe a 4. They're really tiny. I made a size 2 for someone, tiny fingers. But anyway, so we got this one to size overstretched to 13, and we're looking to go down to a size 11. That's our target size. It's annealed. Always have to remember, did I anneal it? And yes, I did. If there's any doubt, then you gotta just anneal it again. It takes a second. So now comes the reduction part of the process. And now I like to do the reducing in the ring stretcher because I don't so much trust. I've adjusted this ram so it's nice and straight and true as much as it can be. But I just prefer to do the reduction in this machine here. This is the Durston ring stretcher reducer, and I just like it. Really solid machine. There is, you can see here, get this camera focused better. There we go. This is a handle extension. I was really lucky to meet Matthew Durston, and he said, what's the one thing you'd improve on this? And well, this is it. You can get these at riogrande.com. I like it because it doubles the power. The mechanism is super strong in the stretcher, in the machine, so it handles it beautifully. I'd make my Morgan dollar rings with just this one machine. Don't even touch the hydraulic press. So we are reducing. That was one thing I forgot to talk about, was what die do you use for what coin? Super simple answer. If it fits, it'll work. So the half dollars just so happen to be right around 1.2 inches. So this is the 1.1 by 1.2 at 17-degree die. And that is, the 17-degree dies are the most important dies to use because, as you saw, you fold with them, but you also do the initial reduction with them. So the 17-degree dies are the most important, kind of the must-haves, if you will. And then if you're using foreign coins, it's really easy to figure out what die you need to use. You just need the diameter of the coin. So if it's if some foreign coin is 0.953 or something like that, you know that you would need the 1.0 to start the folding process, and then you work the size down. So the coin needs to fit inside of the die and fit inside of that rim on the inside there. You could even use a 1.3 to start with a half dollar if you wanted to. See if I have one handy. Yeah, there's a 1.3. So you can see how it sits inside a little bit further. That's fine. It doesn't matter. If you're using a foreign coin that isn't exactly 1.19 or 1.2, it's fine to start with a slightly larger die and then just work your way down as you need it. So I don't even look at the sizes anymore. I just see if it fits. If it fits, then I know I'm good to go. So, okay, so reduction in the 17-degree die. And if it fits, it works. So it fits in the 1.2, so it'll work. And I like to tap it a couple times with a handle, and that just kind of gets everything nice and level. And then away we go. Press it down. And now I bottomed out. I hit the top of the die with the ram, but I know that there's still more room to go. So I just flip it over from the 1.2 side to the 1.1 side. Oh, I forgot. You want to wipe, I mean, I've already done it, but just to show you guys, you want to wipe any dust off that's on the inside of these dies, because it's super highly polished. That's one of the benefits to using the Jason's Works dies, is that Sergio spends so much time polishing these things, and they're just beautiful. So you want to keep that high burnish on the inside, because that will reflect onto the edge of your ring. So you want to wipe any dust or grit that's in there off. It's always good to leave a coat of oil on them, just in case. So there we go. So now what we'll do is we'll check the size of that. And that's actually a synclastic ring right there. You see how it's kind of has that synclastic shape, which is a style. You could, it could be finished ring right there. But I like to have it slightly rounded. So we'll see. Let's double check our size here. Now I still have some material to move on the inside, so which actually it's going to be perfect. So this is a great example here. This is measuring at 10 3/4. So I'm actually too small, but guess what? That reed side that's on the inside is now the narrowest part, and I have some material to take off in there. So the size is going to actually enlarge a little bit. So we'll see if we can hit our 11. This is kind of different. I usually do it I usually come up a little too large, and I have to reduce down. But it looks like we hit it perfect on this one. So this is the reed side here. I'm just going to take that deburring tool and start cutting that material off on the inside. That's on the reed. Now the reed is thicker by design, and so that when you slide your coin across the bar to buy your whiskey, it doesn't wear down the face of the coin or the field of the coin. And that's by design. Now if you ever see a barber coin, that's like the late 1800s, early 1900s, those did not have a raised reed, and a lot of those coins were worn pretty bad. They're not. They don't have good detail, most of them. So, and you want to save those shavings. Put that in a jar, and I'll show you on the next video how to make silver wire out of those. So we're just gonna keep on scraping. I'm slightly changing my angle, starting at like a 45, and then I'm coming in a little bit more. But you have to make sure not to hit the detail on the inside. So I'm actually looking for my optics right now. Since I've started using the microscope, I really enjoy using the optics. I see them. I'll be right back. So these guys are great. You can get these at Rio as well. Make sure I'm in the screen. There we go. Now I can see. There we go. That's being real careful not to hit the detail. You see there's a little rounded knob on the very end of that. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. That's for safety. Some guys like to grind that off, but I have put that deep into my finger before, so I leave that knob on. If you slip with that without the knob on, then it can really cut you bad. So
kind of a catch-22. I'm trying to get a good angle. There we go. I got to adjust here. So yeah, nice little shave there. And so what that's doing is removing that reed on the inside. And it also helps the ring feel better as you're wearing it. You don't feel that ridge right there. So, but the deburring tool is great because it takes a lot of metal off quick. So now I'm just going to feel with my finger. Yeah, there's a little bit of an edge there still. It would take a long time to do this with a file, and then if you use a sander, that's faster. But there was a student that said, power tools make power mistakes. It's like, man, you said it. If you slip, then you just took out some really nice detail on the inside of your ring, and that's the whole point, is trying to save all that detail. So I like to, just slow it down a little bit and do some of this by hand. A little bit of a ridge there. That feels pretty good. So let's check the size. Don't need visors for that. Let's see. And size 11. So that nailed it right there. It's good. But you see, there is, try to get this guy close. There we go. There's that little ridge that kind of sweeps up right here. So this is going to get kind of finessey, but I like to round that off so that it matches the reed side. And it's really important. It's the reed side that you size all the time. It's that you check the size. You never have to worry about the size of the cut side, because it's always going to be larger because it's thinner. And so it's always going to be wider at this point here. And then as you flip the coin over on the reed, this is always going to be narrower because it's thicker, about twice as thick, maybe a third. So you always check the size on the reed, and you always size the reed first. Once you hit your target size, then you're done sizing the reed, as long as you like the look of it, which I like the look of this one. All I have to do is match the look with the cut side to the look of the reed side. And that gets a little tricky, or it can. But I'll try and show you what I've been doing lately with that. And if you mess up and you go way too big, or it's all wobbly and stuff, I'll just anneal it, stretch it out again, and then I'll press it in the Swede die. And that's a great way to start from scratch without making a whole new ring. You conform and straighten everything, and you get it just above your target size, and you can go back to your 17 or your 25 degree dies to get that finished shape that you want. But I really like the shape of the reed on this one. I just want to take that lip on the top on the cut side and just roll it over a little bit. So let me see. I got a new whiteboard. See how this will work here. That'll work. So the shape of the coin right now is kind of like this, right? And what I wanted, actually, there we go. Kind of like that. So I want to match this side to look like that side, right? This is the reed side, the thicker side. Okay, those are the reeds. And this is the cut side right here. So right now, what was the last thing we did? We reduced the reed side, and we reduced a lot of the ring in total. So it's work hardened right now. So what I want to do is anneal it, and that way we start from scratch all over again with the metal. Now, because I want to just roll this edge over. Now, with the metal being thinner and with a fresh anneal, we should be able to do that without disrupting the shape of the rest of the ring. If we were to try to do that right now before annealing it, what would most likely happen is that we would fold a lot of the ring over past to the point that we wanted, so that it might start looking, oh, that's great. It doesn't work very well, does it? It might look more like this, where it kind of comes in like this, right? So it's bending too much down here, where we want it to come up and just roll that. We're looking for that. That's a good one. That's a good shape. That's the shape I'm after. I'm not wanting that. So by annealing the entire ring again and using the 25-degree die and annealed, we'll be able to get the shape that we want right here. If we were to use the 17 or not anneal, then we would possibly bend too much of that ring over because it's all work hardened. So anyways, that's kind of the technique that I'm using right now. If if I mess it up, then I'll probably just stretch it way past my target size, and then throw it in the Swede die, and then start over again, and get that shape that I'm looking for. So hope that was somewhat understandable. So let's see, where did I leave the ring off? It's not annealed. We got to anneal it. So we'll anneal it again. Yeah, it's looking good. I like it. Like it. Like it. Like it. Beautiful, beautiful coin. All right, so we'll set that guy in there. Give it a good anneal. Let that cool down to a dark heat. Got a little hot. It's okay. If you get it too hot, you'll reticulate. That's where the surface begins to melt. Which is actually a technique used by jewelers to make some of their jewelry. So reticulation. All right, so we got a fresh anneal on it, and we got the target size on the reed, which is good. So now I'm going to switch from the 17-degree die, which is the most important one to have, I believe, and we'll go to the 25-degree. And if it fits, it works. I don't care what size I'm pulling out. I just want to see if it'll fit inside, and it does. So that just happens to be a 1.1, but that'll change with different ring sizes. So, and one quick way to tell the difference between the 17s and the 25s is you'll see the 17 on the inside, right here. There's no flat. It just goes from one angle to the next. On the 25-degree dies, you'll see a very slight flat in the middle there. So just by looking at it, I know if it's a 25 or not. So I don't have to read the 25-degree. I just grab it and I know I'm good. And if the ring fits, then I'm good. So that's a good little trick to know. So I see the flat, that's a 25. That ring fits inside. We're good to go. Freshly annealed. I like to put my finger on the side of the ram because I'm just going to press a little bit. And I can feel that ram come down and how much I'm coming down more accurately than I can see it. And because it's a 25 degree, it's going to take a little bit more force. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's take a gander here. I like it. So far, so good. Get my finger out of the way. On some of these, the coin up, we got a little bit of a wobble. Not so much a wobble, but it kind of did what I didn't want it to do right here. It brought that over a little bit too much. Just barely. But I want to do it over again. So this is a good trick here. And shout out to Skylar Jenkins. You got to check his channel out. That guy's like a master jeweler. He's started out making coin rings, but man, you should see what he's doing now. Just incredible work. But he's done this where he'll take a folding mandrel to do all kinds of stuff with. He'll stretch the ring out from the reed side. I found I like to use it to kind of recone the coin to start over again, like I'm going to do on this one. So I'll show you how I do that. But yeah, Skylar Jenkins, check him out. Amazing guy, super nice guy, super talented guy. So we're going to anneal the ring again because I don't like that one side of the coin. Sometimes you can't get rid of it because, like on a Ben Franklin $50, where his head is, it's really thick, and then other parts it's really thin. So you're always going to have one part of the coin that doesn't look quite symmetrical, just because it's such a difference in thickness. I don't think it's not so much that case with a Walker, so I think I can make it look a little bit better, so I will. But with the Ben Franklin, that's really tough to do. So just something to consider with that. Swede dye helps with that, but always understand that a lot of it depends on the coin as well. So we shall anneal again. So that nice orange flame. All right, so now we're going to use the arbor press. That gives us a little bit more room. And I'm going to pick a die with a very small hole. So I want to sit the ring on the reed side and around the hole. I want it to sit on the flat of the die so that there's room, so that the edge of the hole doesn't hit the ring at all. And I'm going to use my steel die first. I use the steel die first to help soften that edge. Actually, let me do this because I don't want to damage that plastic folding mandrel, but I need to use it. So I'm just going to take that sharp edge off if there is one. Got to do it anyways to finish the ring. I place the steel mandrel in, and that is hitting. I want it to hit, so I need a little bit larger hole, so I flip that over. Okay, so now I'm on the ring, and there's room for that mandrel to go down. Go one size larger. There we go. And what I'm doing, same thing with a steel starter cone, I'm just starting the press. If I go all the way down, I'm going to start to hit the detail. I just want to go a little bit, just to get the mandrel to conform the ring to the shape of the mandrel. And then I'll put the plastic mandrel in. And here you want to just be careful not to damage your mandrel. That's why we use the steel one first. That's actually looking really nice right there. Got a little bit of a lip there. Let me do the steel one again. A little bit. It's looking good. And you can reface these. I've got a video showing that on how to reface those if you do put a little nick in there. Really easy to do. Just need some sandpaper. But it's really just a matter of trying, saving that detail. So that looks pretty good. So we got that little bit of a flare back. Come on, camera. There we go. There. So I'll do an anneal, and we'll go back to that 25 degree. Just really finessing. Got that a little hot, so we're going to let it cool down to a dark heat. If you quench it when it's too hot, it can damage the metal. Okay, so there it is, nice and annealed. Go back to the 25 degree die. I see the flat in the middle, the ring fits, good to go. Put my finger on the side to feel how far I'm going. Come on, camera. There we go. I like to rotate the die too sometimes in between presses just to make sure it's getting an even press. It's looking good, a little bit more. Maybe I spend too much time on these, I don't know, but I like to do the best I can. Overall, I mean, it's a fast process. I mean, this incredibly fast. No soldering, no hammering. I really like it. So I can actually see better on the camera there. Looks good. Looks good. Matches. I'm going to call that a keeper. So, and you can see how thin that cut side is compared to the reed. So that's why you measure it always on the reed side and never on the cut side. Cut side, it's always going to measure larger. On a typical ring, typical band ring, you measure in the middle of the ring. But on the coin ring, it's thicker on that one side, so you want to measure on that thicker side, that reed side. So, okay, so we're good to go. Next is the good old trusty file. Yeah, I've already done, I'll do it again, I guess. You can take some more metal off on the inside. I'm changing the angle. I'm coming in a little bit flatter. So what you want to do is round. You want to really round that, especially that cut edge. Get rid of those sharp angles. And these don't work on the outside. It just doesn't work. You have to go use the deburring tool on the inside and not the outside. So on the outside, I just like to hold the ring like this and hit it with a file. This is a German, oh boy, number 4, I think. It's a fine, more of a finishing file, but it takes off enough material fast enough to work efficiently, but it doesn't leave huge gouges on the edge that you have to use a second file. And you'll see I come in on this angle here, and then this angle, and then this angle. So I'm rounding it off as I go. And again, you can mechanize this. with a power tool, but I do like doing it by hand. I can see here we got. Now I'm going to switch. This is the half round. I'm going to switch to the flat, and I'm just going to make sure we're nice and flat right there. I'm seeing a couple of little nicks. I don't know if you can see it. Some guys will use like a whetstone, that's fine, or sandpaper, that's fine. But this file works well. Sorry if this is a long video, but hey, it's real time, making a ring, and you can see every step that I use, almost every step. There's a couple more, but we didn't need to use it on this one. I was able to hit that target size in that window using just the 17-degree die. So, and I had that 25-degree die. You don't have to have a 25-degree die, but it's nice to have in order to be very meticulous in shaping that ring how you like. And you can also get a couple of sizes smaller, but you're going to force that fat tire look more into it using that 25-degree. So I'm just feeling with my finger the edges. So I'm changing the angle a little bit, coming in a little bit steeper, but not too steep. The whole trick is keeping the detail. That's the whole idea. Okay, so I'm happy with the outside, so now I'm going to hit the inside where I had the deburring tool, and now I'm going to take away those deburring tool marks with the file. And that's the whole trick, is you take the next tool will take the marks from the last tool out. And so I'm gonna you'll see I'll change the angle from this to this to this. So I'm doing the same thing, rounding that inside. Actually start with a steeper angle first. Again, you can mechanize this operation if you like. The flapper sander is a great way. Who came up with the flapper sander? Oh, I forgot his name. I got a video on it. Works good. But I don't know, I just finding right now I'm using the file a lot more, so I might get back into the flapper sander later. So the deburring tool also did the inside of the reed, so I'm going to use the file to remove those marks. Again, changing angles. And you can see where the file is removing material where it's shiny. So just like sharpening a knife, you can adjust, by adjusting the angle, you can adjust where that material is coming off. So I'm going to go in a little bit shallower now. I'm noticing as I get older, my hands don't last as long. So yeah, maybe I'll be getting back to the flapper sander. I don't know. Okay, so there we go. So now, yeah, we got the right size. We've got a really nice shape to it, I think. So we're finishing now. What was I going to say? The the finishing process. That's right. The annealing. If you have, this is 90% silver, 10% copper. So sterling silver is 92.5% silver. and what 7.5% copper. If you and that's the reason for that is to have a more sturdy material for jewelry, so it doesn't bend. It's not as soft. So the coin silver is a good material for jewelry. It's nice and sturdy. That's why they put the copper in it, because the coinage needs to last a long time from wear and tear. If you were to be using a pure silver coin, or not coin, but a pure silver bullion round or silver eagle, that's a coin, you would want to leave it work hardened at your very last step. So typically with a pure silver coin, you would anneal only one time. But with the 90% silver, you can anneal however many times you want. So that's something to consider, though. If you're using a silver eagle, you want to leave it work hardened. That way it will last for a long time against wear. So, okay, we got the right size 11. Fits perfect. Really nice ring. And we have the shape that we like. We have the edges rounded using a file from was the last tool used. So now I'm going to go to sanding blocks, and that goes to. I started using the manicure files because my mom's a manicurist, and I started using those. And then Joshua Janes found these guys, and man, oh man, are they awesome! This is Sally's Beauty Supply. So, yeah, it's the only place that has them. There's some copycat ones basically, but they're terrible. They're not nearly as good. You got to get the Sally's. Miracle Buff, I think, is the name. You can get them online. You can go to the store and get them, but they work really, really good. But I use this one. I use this one, another nail block, buffer pad, whatever you call them, and then this one. This one has two courses. It has super coarse and coarse. This one's a medium, and then this one is fine and super fine. It doesn't remove material. It just burnishes and does an amazing job. So I like to start with the coarse, of course, and we'll go just like that. So I use the corner of that and go on the inside, never on the outside with this one. This will tear off the detail. But right there, now I'm removing the file marks. Right? So, yeah. So coarse and coarse, extra coarse, extra coarse. And you can use your visors. I'm going to throw my visors on real quick. That's looking good already. So I'm done with that. I'm going to switch over to here. A little lighter pressure, because I can come inside a little bit easier. And then the top, and then the outer edge, I'll angle like that. Not on the reed side, but on the cut side. And it doesn't take much, because it is super coarse. So now I'm going to switch over to the not so coarse and remove the coarse marks. I remember making knives back in the day, and oh, that was just to get a high polished knife, so much work. A lot of belts. Okay, that's looking really good. So now this is just the not so coarse, and then this is nothing here. That's just foam. Do that on the inside. That looks good. So now we go to medium. Same thing. Now this I can hit. I feel okay hitting the reed and that edge there. If you need to. I mean, the reduction die does a really good job burnishing, so there's a couple of nicks that were actually from the coin. There. So now the cut side and the flat, and that now I'm just kind of angling inside. I'm rounding it off. That nice rounded feel and look, but not hitting the detail on the outside. Not doing that yet. And I'm with a medium coarse. I'm removing the coarse marks. That looks good. And so now I go to the fine, and same thing. And with a fine, that I use to remove the fire scale. You'll notice if there's a jeweler watching, it's like, why isn't he removing the fire scale? Using pickle and all that. And, well, I don't. I just found that it's just unnecessary for this particular procedure. I just leave the fire scale on. Every time you put it in the pickle, you kind of mess the detail, and it's not as sharp. And I've done it both ways, but it is time consuming, and I just don't. I think it actually lowers the quality. So, but yeah, if you guys pickle each time in between your anneal, that's cool. So I'm not going to burnish yet. I'm going to hold off on that. I think the patina actually. That's burnish. Going to go to the fine. So now I'm going to remove the fire scale. You can see that. Fire scale, no fire scale. So this is going to allow the patina to blacken the silver, to oxidize the silver. And it's Black Max is what I use. I used to use liver of sulfur, but I just stick with the Black Max now. I know there's ring makers out there that use all kinds of cool stuff, but that's just kind of what I'm used to. So that's the thing, is that watch more videos on other people and their techniques, and if something's like, hey, I want to try that, and it's like, whoa, that works great for me, then that's awesome. Just learn as much as you can from as many people as you can, and then you'll find your own method, and it might be a combination. So a really cool trick I found with this is to make one of these. So this is the fine side and then the burnished side, and the trick to that, I don't want to, that's a good one. Yeah, this guy's pretty rough, so I'll show you on here. So you take a knife and you just start to cut the very edge of that, and then you peel that off like that, and that's a very sticky side. And then same thing on the burnished side. Take that and peel that off, and then you take both sticky sides and stick them together like that. Oops. Come on, Jason. There we go. And then I'll just cut that in half. Put it on the table here. And so now you have two very thin fine and burnishing abrasive pads that you can now get inside of the ring. And again, I'm removing the fire scale for the next process, which is the patina. And yeah, that's done. All good to go. And you can leave it like that if you want. I mean, that technically is a finished ring. It's just a high polished. Well, you'd want to do the buffing pad. Let's do that. If you were to finish it without the patina, I do the buffing pad. The white side of this one. And that just puts an absolute shine to it. I'll get a request for this once in a while, but people really like the patina, I think. Although it doesn't last forever, but they can actually repatina it themselves just by throwing it in a bag with a hard-boiled egg. It's smashed up, and the sulfur will oxidize the silver. So there would be a finished, highly polished ring. Pretty cool. But we're going to do a patina. So I'm going to go back to the to the fine, because I found that it's good to have a little bit of tooth, you know, on the silver, just to have that patina stick a little bit better. So just a quick little pass with the fine side. Okay, so now we're back to more of like a satin finish, I guess you'd call it. So now with the patina, this stuff is very dangerous, actually. So you got to be careful with it. I keep it outside because it'll rust tools like crazy. This is the Black Max. Works really good. The label's worn off, but I store it outside. I use it outside. Usually we'll use it here in the shop, but as soon as I'm done with it, it's going outside, just because it has so much of a reaction to metal. So let's see. All right. Out of there. So we got safety gloves. And I like to use, you can just use hot soapy water to get the oil off, but I'll use a little bit of acetone just to make it quick. You don't want any oil to be on the ring. When you do the patina. I'll just pour that in there. Put the cap back on. And now in goes the ring. You can see how fast it just turns black. I'll let that soak in there for a little bit. Sorry. There it is. Missed the camera on that. Sorry, guys. It just, yeah, it turns black that fast. Set this down out of the way. Let that soak for a little bit. And I'll just put this back in the bottle. Use it for next time. And then rinse it with clean water. There we go, nice and black. Dry that off. Okay, so now we got the patina on there. So now it's a matter of removing the patina where we want to and leaving it where we want to. So, on camera. Here we go. Okay. And I found that if I burnish it first, because that doesn't remove the material, it really just highly polishes it. I mean, if you were to stay there forever, then yeah, you'd probably remove it. But I'll go through and I'll burnish that patina on, and that seems to stick a little better. Again, a lot of different methods to this people are using, so definitely check out other people and what they're doing. But this is what I do. So super high black polish, which is really cool, just there by itself. Then I'll do the inside. Nice and burnished. And so now I come back. Now I use the fine grit, the gray side, and I'm removing patina. And so I'm really careful on how I do this, where I go. Just hitting the outer edge of the reed side and then flipping over. Gotta find a good distance for the camera. There we go. Yeah, let me know, guys, how I can improve the camera work. I'm trying to keep it to where you can see what I'm doing while at the same time doing it. So a little tricky, but okay. So now I've got both edges, both sides of the ring here. So I'm going to come in really light. I'm not pressing at all. I'm just like the weight of the pad, which is nothing. I'm just coming in and getting the high points, like the sun and the sun's rays. And you can use the very corner and really get in there tight. Make sure to get the date. There we go. And then Liberty, the letters of Liberty. Liberty herself. And in God we trust. Get that. So now, sorry, automated. Switched over to the white side. That's the burnishing. So now I'm going back with pressure, and I'm burnishing, high polish, all the spots that I just hit with the gray side. And now the inside, very lightly with the fine gray grit. Super light. Just want to hit the high points to pop that detail. Actually, I want to do the inside read, that corner trick. Do that first with the gray side. And then come in with the white side. High burnish. Now we'll go back to the inside. So the gray. There we go. That did it. So now I'll come in with the white side on the inside of the ring and do that high burnish. And there we go, a finished coin ring, 1942 Walking Liberty $50. Very shiny. Now for the very last thing I like to do is put a little Renaissance wax. This stuff is a little old. I should get another one, but it lasts forever. And you use so little. Like this little nub will last me probably, I don't know, 50 rings. Just takes a little tiny bit. I just put a little bit on the outside. Just scraping a little bit off. I mean, it really takes nothing at all. And I just take a polishing cloth. This is whoever that is, Solvit. And I'll come in and pinch the ring in between the two and just buff the outside. I don't put it on the inside. It is a petroleum-based product. I'm not really big on that stuff, but it does a great job. This is really for keeping the silver from oxidizing while it's being shipped or inside of your display case, stuff like that. That's really the purpose for it. So it does give a really nice sheen to it, though. So that's it, guys. Put that ring on. There we go. So that is how I'm making rings right now. We'll see. I'll probably change it up in the future, but that's how I'm doing it. So I hope you liked it. I hope the video wasn't too long. I don't know how long it went for, but we'll see. So I hope you get some more videos out. I really want to do, I think, on the next video, I want to do how to make silver wire using your auto punch. Pretty cool trick doing that. I've been doing that. That's great for making, if you're making bells, you know, if you're using 2 or 3 coins for the bell, you can use the same material that comes off the bell for all the parts of the bell, the clapper and the whatever, all the parts you call on a bell. So I'll probably do that one next, but make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to visit jasons.works. I got the coin ring tools on there. Got some coin rings for sale too. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. So thanks again, guys. Have a great New Year's that's coming up. So hope you guys have fun with that. So all right, see you later. Bye.